So today I'm going to be talking about stray animals. What do you do when you find a real stray feral animal with no microchip? Do you call a shelter? What is the proper thing to do to make sure that animal is safe and isn't going to hurt anyone else? We want to avoid overfilling animal shelters because most of them are understaffed, underfunded, and they have scarce resources. But we also really do need to focus on the importance of controlling feral cat population. Right now, there is no specific branch of government that's in charge of calculating and recording animal populations and euthanations in our local shelters. Our shelters struggle when they experience these large amounts of intakes with limited resources, including medical supplies, food, and volunteers. So I wanted to take this opportunity to advocate for our feline friends. According to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, ASPCA, more cats are surrendered to animal shelters simply because more cats are perceived to be strays than dogs. This is less likely to happen to dogs because when they are surrendered to shelters, they're more likely to be returned to their owner before they're put down. I mean, if you think about it, that does make sense because when you see a dog without a collar, you're less likely to see a wild dog than you are to see a wild cat. Wild cats, they tend to be kind of everywhere. So what needs to happen? We need a better plan to better control the populations and prevent the spread of these feline diseases. The best way to help meet these needs and control overpopulation is something that animal workers call TNR, or trap, neuter, and return, or release. The need to control cat population is so dire because cats can get pregnant up to 3 times a year, and they can have anywhere between 4 to 8 kittens. And not only does that take a toll on the adult cat or kittens, because kittens can have kittens, and that's not good because their bodies aren't fully ready for it. But when they have babies, and especially if they have them outside, they're less likely to thrive. So the best thing to do to get started is research local areas that do cheap spay and neutering for feral cats. More companies participate in this than you know because it reduces the amount of animals that get sent and surrendered to shelters. Since dogs are less likely to be surrendered as a feral animal, they do not offer feral dog packages. In most of these places, I've only ever found cat discounts if they're feral. So the Humane Society was the main one that I found that participates and offers assistance for trap, neuter, and release. So does Northwest Spay and Neuter Center on their website. It offers specific days of the month that are first come, first serve, and you can bring in humanely trapped feral cats for a discounted procedure. And when you go into these days, not only do the cat get fixed, but they also get shots and tested for other feline diseases, and depending on the severity of the disease or the kind of disease they have, treated so that way they can be returned to the wild without spreading that disease to their own colony. There was some research done between the years of 2002 and 2004 in the Catalina Islands of California that was published in 2010 that studied the migration behaviors of feral cats, and they explained that the reason we do this research is that we can better predict and understand the migration patterns of cats, so we can focus on where the need for trap, neuter, and release is. And also, it's really important to study that ecological impact that large numbers of cats can have on our ecosystem. Only 30% of what a feral cat kills is actually consumed by a cat. Most of the time, these killings are just their entertainment. It's what they do. But when they excessively kill birds, lizards, snakes, rats, that can create problems in ecosystems if it goes unchecked in a large colony. When you're taking action, what's the first step? First step would be to find a local company that does TNR. Here in Bremerton, our two local shelters that do that are the Kitsap Humane Society and the Northwest Spay and Neuter Center. Both of these companies have specific days of the month where you can bring your animal in, your feral animal in, for a discounted spay/neuter. Now, it's first come, first served for most of these places, and it's really important that you trap these animals humanely. They stress that they will not treat animals that have not been humanely trapped, and this is because animals that are being trapped, they're subjected to a lot of stress and they can respond such. And you don't want to endanger any of the volunteer staff that are coming in and doing these treatments purely just for the good of the community. And if you have questions or concern about how to trap an animal in your area, my next piece of advice would be to call your local shelter, and they'll be able to give you advice, information, or depending on their own company's resources, they might even be able to help you trap the animal. This is what they do for a living, so if you have any trouble, always call your local animal shelter. And there are other ways to help too, like you can always donate money or supplies, but if you're like me, who you're a full-time college student and you don't have the money to donate, you can always donate time and volunteer at your local animal shelter. It costs $0 and it's so much fun. I mean, as much as I would love to be a foster parent to animals, which is another thing you can do. If you want to help your local animal shelter, foster a kitty cat for a couple of weeks until they find a real owner. But it's really fun to work at a shelter, and you don't have to pay any money towards it, and it's so much fun. I volunteered at Paws here in Bremerton for about 6 months, and there I was tasked with socializing with tiny little baby kittens because we had to get them used to humans. So they would be like, anytime you're in there cleaning a room or scooping a litter box or filling up a cat bowl, reach down there and pet all the kittens, throw some kitty toys. It was so much fun. And I always tell anyone I talk to about animals to adopt, don't shop. You don't need to buy an expensive animal. There are so many affordable animals out there in shelters just begging to come home with someone. And if you can't adopt or foster or donate money or donate supplies or trap and neuter, volunteer your time. 1 hour a week, it's a great family thing to do. Get the kids together, the mom, the dad, the friends, go and just do some good for the community. The animals will thank you for it, your community will thank you for it, and it's good for the soul.